So for hack 6, we have shifting the ownership of assessment, which is facilitating a progress assessment tool, which more or less is our version of a rubric. And we're not the biggest fans of rubrics for various reasons. We want to put in our students' hands a tool that's going to help to drive the learning and not serve as an obstacle to learning. So what we describe in the book is something that we call a progress assessment tool, which is something that Aaron and I thought of to kind of rebuild the rubric, the traditional rubric, from the ground up. So problem number 6, assessing project-based learning, which is a big one and probably one of the biggest problems when it comes to project-based learning. And notice how we don't say grading, because oftentimes we don't think the project itself necessarily has to be graded. So looking at what you can do tomorrow, we have prepare your progress assessment tool template, collecting exemplars, analyzing exemplars, empowering your students to be critical evaluators. And what we're going to look at is preparing your progress assessment tool template. And so just to give you an overview of what this progress assessment tool looks like, which once again is kind of our version of a rubric, is it's a 3-column template. In the left column, all the project's learning targets, each one in a separate row. So that's what we're going to measure or assess student progress and student products against. It's going to be those learning targets. We don't want to assess them or grade them against a product. We want to grade and assess them against what they're going to learn, or those learning targets, because we want them to be able to pave the way to how they reach those learning targets. If we assess them against a certain product, such as saying something like, your poster must have 10 facts related to, the state of Pennsylvania, okay? Then we're really constricting what students can create, and we're going to have, a whole bunch of products that end up looking the same. But by grading and assessing them against their learning targets, then the onus is on your students, and then they have the autonomy to choose how they reach those learning targets. Center column, student created strengths for each target. So by analyzing exemplars, they will determine what it looks like to reach exemplary in regards to each one of those learning targets. And in the right column is feedback related to each learning targets, whether it's self-feedback, peer feedback, or teacher feedback related to each of those targets, and that is feedback that students will receive or produce throughout the project.